New announcements from Donald Trump just saying what he is planning on doing. Not only that, we have Walmart being tied up in these tariffs, and they kind of issue a warning to the American people. Now the funny thing is, these tariffs that Biden and Harris dogged Trump out for, they're actually doing them. We talked about that the other day. But Walmart had a warning for Americans, and I don't know if this is a bad or good warning, but it should make you think, what are we doing here in America? Not only that, what did the U.S. Coast Guard see off the shores of Alaska? Again, what have we done when it comes to provocation of war? Something we need to pay attention to. And then finally, we're in a shortage of the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. You know what's so crazy? We've got billions of dollars going overseas. We have billions of dollars going everywhere, wasting. And you know what Biden's administration, the Department of Energy, just said? Well, we're short on cash. We can't refill the SPR. So I guess it's just going to stay low. You know, the SPR was made for safety, emergencies, prepping, and war. But we don't have the money to refill it. We have money to send to Zelensky, but no money to refill it. Crazy. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Remember yesterday we were doing a seed giveaway. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, go check that out. But also, it has great information, but you get entered into a seed giveaway. It costs you nothing, so don't forget that. Remember, we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the month for all our subscribers, and anyone who comments and gives us a thumbs up. It means the world to us, so please keep doing that. Tell us what you think about today's video for sure. Now let's dive into these stories. Let's talk about Trump first, and then we'll maneuver to all these other stories with Walmart and with the Coast Guard and Biden, of course. Well, Trump delivers two major news announcements yesterday, and one was a warning, and then the other was simply saying, this is what my plans are. So Trump comes out and he says, I'm warning you. Election cheaters will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Now, I think he's going ahead and putting that out there because he knows there's going to be some integrity issues. I mean, again, we're talking months, 2 months, 3 months voting, and we're also talking about these cities that are embracing all these unethical ways of getting votes. Very unethical. So he's warning, he's saying, look, just be wary. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and you're not going to get off with a slap on the wrist. If you're trying to bring attention to our elections and cause problems with our elections, you will be prosecuted to the fullest. Now that's one thing, and we've heard that from other Republicans, but I believe a lot of the other Republicans are grandstanding. It's kind of like the immigration situation. Biden's bringing another 1.5 million on refugee status this week. It's actually 1.3 this week. And Republicans can talk about it, but they won't stop it. It's unbelievable. But going back to the story, Trump says, I'm gonna stop you. I'm going to make sure you are prosecuted to the fullest. And I think that's a good idea. If we don't have integrity in our elections, what's the point in having an election? Something to think about. Now, second one, I think is huge. Again, I think this is what matters and why people kind of coalesce around Trump, especially your common blue-collar, middle-of-the-road, middle-income families, like most families that support him. I think of us, same way. You know, I told you a few weeks ago, our grocery bills are high, our gas is high, all that kind of stuff. But our insurance had skyrocketed on our home and on our auto. And that's something no one's talking about. We came out yesterday and said, I will cut the insurance cost back down at least by half. Now you think, well, he can't do that. Well, to be honest with you, it's went up about 40-something%. So if he can make them go back down, they're still making records profits, and we're getting hopefully a little relief. But ultimately, we're paying too much for insurance. Think about all the insurances you pay. Think of auto, think of health, think of prescription, think of home, and think of all the liabilities or anything you have on your property if you have a bigger property. Now, that's a lot of money per month that you're spending on insurances. And if they're all going up 20 to 40% because, honestly, they don't want you to actually have to use a claim, so it's just there for safety, but ultimately we're insurance poor. We're breaking ourselves. I know my personal house and auto insurances, literally every one of them doubled, no doubt. I was paying around $300 and some odd a month for all my coverage, all my insurances, my home, land, and all the cars. I'm up to $600 and about $30. That's unbelievable for insurance. So again, Trump goes straight to the populace and says, I'm fixing to cut your insurance and I know how to do it. And I'm going to get that done. Now, if I was him, I wouldn't release the plan too, because every plan he releases, Kamala and Biden just copy. And that kind of leads us to the next story. Kamala and Biden's administration about the tariffs. Walmart sends a warning out saying we may not be able to do the de minimis, which is basically getting stuff from China directly and send it straight to your address. Amazon too. Now, this is a catch-22. I told you a few weeks ago that going through growing pains or problems to fix something is better, a correction. Well, Walmart and Amazon has been abusing the system by skipping over tariff laws to get stuff directly sent to homes from overseas. Now, that can mean that you have cheap goods, but think about it. I, for instance, have 2 shovels. I have a shovel that I bought from a rummage sale that's probably 50 years old. That piece of wood and that shovel it's old looking. It's rusty on the actual shovel part. The wood, though, you can't break it. It's impenetrable. But if I go to Walmart or I order online and I get a shovel sent to me, it may have saved me money now, but ultimately it may last me, a few months, maybe a year. But if I use it like I use it here, it may not last me any time. So what we're doing is we're buying cheap economical parts, but we're actually getting cheap results from them. And that sounds good, but ultimately I want something that lasts longer. Well, what this came in with tariffs, just like Trump said, is when you start putting these tariffs on all these exporters that are coming in to import into America, what you're doing is you're actually building the American economy back up, because people are able to make the manufacturing goods here, and Americans will start buying America again, because if there's the same price for the crappy import or the good American product, or even just a few dollars difference, the American product will always win out. Before we go any further, a word from our sponsor of the day. You ever wonder how you can keep your money safe? And we talk about diversification. So, you put your money in the banks, and is it safe? What's going to happen to the money when it actually comes down to, is the bank going to close? Are we worried about not having tangible goods? Well, then we put it in our home, and then we're worried, will someone break in and steal my little safe? Or will they come in and cause problems? Or will a fire break out? Introducing the sponsor of today's video, Dirty Man Safe. One thing about caches and burying safes is, your grandmother probably buried something like a coffee can. Well, you got to worry about rust, and what if something happens like water gets into it? Well, that's where this thing is so awesome. It's ergonomical, it's small, it's simple, but it is a beast when it comes to keeping everything safe. Fully sealed up, also comes in a second containment. The benefit of it is, and people say, oh, why is it not metal? It just seems like this hard plastic. Well, you know what? That's what keeps it safe, because not only can you seal it, it keeps it very undetectable and very inconspicuous inside your ground. Now, say you want to find it. One hint, even though this is metal and even though it will be picked up on a metal detector depending on the depth, I throw some old nuts and bolts and all that kind of around to give people a false reading, so that way they can't find exactly where it's at. Now, you need to make sure you remember where it's at, but the benefit is having something buried. What if all of a sudden someone wants to confiscate something of yours? What if all of a sudden a fire or theft? Tangible goods can be taken. Not when you have our Dirty Man Safe. Phenomenal sponsor and a phenomenal company that we personally use. If you see it, look at this. Look how dirty mine is. I had to bring it out just to let you see it, but I'm not going to tell you where I buried it, but it shows we're using it as well. This is a game changer when it comes to the safety and prepping of your money and your goods and your assets. Check out Dirty Man Safe. The link is below. You will be very happy that you did. Keep your goods safe and keep them buried. Just the new form of the old coffee can. For instance, there was a guy with the with Blue Ox. He was the guy that hooks to the RVs. He owns a company. He said, I couldn't figure out how we were losing to Amazon or Walmart. Well, what it was they were using this little small loophole to get out of tariffs, because what was happening is they were being able to sell goods directly from importer China or India. And what it was doing was making their cost literally to nothing, to where Blue Ox or some of these companies, these manufacturers, couldn't compete. Now, are we leveraged too much with the unions? Are we leveraged too much with paying people way too much because our economy sucks? There's a lot of problems in America, and there'll be a time for correction. But this is a step in the right direction. Now, I don't give kudos to Biden and Harris because they dogged it out. Trump actually brought this up about doing tariffs, and all of a sudden they instilled the tariffs that he had. Literally, they're the Trump tariffs. So yes, I hate to see our prices go up on certain things when it comes to Amazon or Walmart. But to be honest with you, if this helps balance out our market to where we can buy American products for the same price that we can buy import, yes, you say it's a tax on you, but actually what's costing you more is the fact that we are giving all these incentives to other countries to sell our goods, and we're enriching them and actually impoverishing us with crappy goods. So I actually think this is a catch-22, but a very good thing. Walmart gives this warning because they want you to stand against their representation and let them have these loopholes. To be honest with you, I don't want them having the loopholes. I want them to be a fair playing field, because the mom and pop grocery store, the mom and pop thrift store, the mom and pop tool store can't do that. Only big behemoths like Amazon and Walmart. So actually like this, I think this is a good move, but their administration sees how good these tariffs actually work, and these are the Trump tariffs that could benefit us more. The reason they don't want to actually give kudos to them because they want to overtax American people for the same incentives for money to come in instead of doing the tariffs. So I like the fact that we tax people overseas versus taxing the Americans. That's a good thing. Now, another story, U.S. Coast Guard sees some equipment, some military operations, some things going off the coast of Alaska. What is it? Well, it's Russian ships. It says the U.S. Coast Guard confirmed the encounter with 4 Russian Navy vessels. 4 Russian Navy vessels. Just unbelievable. 57 miles off Port Hope in Alaska. The incident occurred during a routine patrol by the Coast Guard. Now, here's the thing. And this is where people try to justify it. They're like, well, look, China's always coming around the seas, and Russia's always going around the seas. Well, hey, we're doing the same thing. But this is the provocation. You know, here we are just saying yesterday and the day before that Blinken was fisting a green light, and defense was fisting a green light, missiles being shot into Moscow. And you see, honestly, there was several countries telling Zelensky in Ukraine, you better find a end out because you're losing this war. Some of the countries were trying to get him to negotiate. So here we are still trying to hold him up, still giving hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, we can't, but we don't have enough money to get more Secret Service for Trump. We don't have enough money to fill our SPR, which is what we're supposed to talk about. But we have enough money to send to Zelensky and to cause problems for Russia. Well, all of a sudden that provocation with us saying we're going to shoot into Moscow, or we're going to allow our rockets to shoot into Moscow, all of a sudden 4 Russian vessels are off our coast in Alaska. What they're saying is, if you do this, we may do something too. You know, I've always wanted to visit Alaska. Everybody talks about how beautiful it is in Hawaii, but the more and more that our country provocates for crises, the more and more I don't want to leave our shores. I don't want to go too far off from my home. And I know that sounds terrible, and I know most people are saying, oh, you're just worried. You shouldn't worry. You shouldn't have anxiety. It's not that. It's sometimes we have to seek wisdom, and when we see that our government is provocating war everywhere across the world, I don't think that I want to be far away from my house, especially when it comes to my children and keeping them safe. I don't think it's wise. So again, why are we seeing Russian vessels right off our coast? 50 miles now. That's not a lot. If you've been deep sea fishing, we've deep sea fished 20 miles off the shore. I mean, you're talking about another 25 miles, 30 miles, and there's Russian Navy vessels there that could cause catastrophic events in Alaska? Come on, this is crazy. Why are we allowing this to happen? Quit provoking war, sit down at the table, like Trump says, and let's get a peace agreement signed. Now for the shortage. This is what bothers me the most, because I hear it as just a complete agenda. And I guess it just upsets me because we have a situation where we are provocating war, but we don't even have the money to be able to put the oil back into the SPR. Now, we do have the money. The problem is the government doesn't want to spend it on petroleum because they have this initiative and they want to make it look like they're fully green and for the environment. What's so funny is this is the same people that tear down your trees and put solar panels to save the world. And you know, the trees are actually what God made to clean up our air and have, you know, oxygen. So they're not wanting to do it. So there's a report that came out and said that the Department of Energy only has $841 million. Now, $841 million is a lot of money, but because Biden has taken the SPR down so low, it's just a drop in the bucket. And crude oil is actually lower now than than it was when they talked about doing it last time. But they have no money. It's amazing. That was the same excuse the Secret Service said yesterday, that they didn't have enough. They don't have enough, people. They don't have enough goods. They don't have enough ways to hire to protect all these dignitaries and Trump, and it's too hard. So for America, we cannot spend money on Americans. We can't give money to the Hawaiian victims. We can't give money for Secret Service to have enough coverage. We can't give enough money to our police officers who are good police officers who are willing to fight and help our countries and save our cities. We're not willing to defend our own self by providing more strategic oil and to have in the emergency, holds just in case. But we have billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to send overseas. Help me understand that. That's like you saying, well, look, I'm gonna make sure all my windows are busted out, no door locks, and the door's hanging off, and I don't have the money to fix it, but I'm gonna go to my neighbor's house and spend all day helping him fix his windows and pay for his door to be replaced. Doesn't make sense, does it? Because when the thief comes, he's not going to the one that's got doors completed and windows completed, not busted out. He's going to yours. Well, that's a pretty stupid thing to do and foolish thing to do, and that's exactly what we're doing. Shortage of fuel means if something goes down and we're cut in half under SPR because we have the funds to pay for petroleum to be done, we're putting ourselves in a bad situation. So you have two shortages here. Shortages of American care, meaning they don't have the money to pay for Americans' needs, but we can give a Visa and EBT card to every illegal coming into America. 1.3 million just got released under a new refugee program that, again, Democrats have pushed. Biden and Harris let them in, and Republicans won't do a dang thing about it. But then we have enough money to give to them, but not enough money for the American people and also for the strategic oil reserve. We're in a situation where our leaders could care less about us and care more about them. Why do you keep putting these people in power? Both sides. Why do you keep putting them in power if they're just going to keep ripping you off? All right, guys, pay attention to what's going on. So this is why you take care of your home and you prep, because no one else is doing it for you. Take these warnings, heed these warnings. Walmart and Amazon's already said their goods are going to go up. So if you need some things that are good buys, buy them. But at the same time, pay attention to this tariff situation. I actually think the tariff thing is a good thing, because I want more people overseas to pay more money than me as a United States citizen to be overtaxed. So I don't think this is a bad thing. I know they say, oh, the prices will go up. Yeah, but the prices are still going up now. Trump's announcement with the prosecution of the election people who are wanting to do wrong things, and in fact the insurance cutting, that's how you talk to the American people, and I think that's what the American people want to hear. We have to watch for provocation with Russia and with China, because it seems like all our military and all our leaders want to do is cause wars to police all across the world. If we're a Western Hemisphere hegemon or a world hegemon, if we're the big player, it's kind of like anything. You want to be the big man? Then bring peace. That's how you show strength, through peace. Guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories. I tell you what, when everything seems grim and it seems like we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, remember to seek wisdom, seek Christ, and understand there are better days ahead of us if we want them to be. But we have to push for it, strive for it, stand up against all this craziness, and be the wisest and most common sense approach things that we can do. We need to do that. Guys, remember, Dirty Man Safe. This is a phenomenal product. You need to have this at your home, kept inconspicuous places, buried around, so that way you know no matter what happens to your bank, what happens to your home, your goods are safe. Check them out in the link below. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless.